What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday morning here on a lovely late July Saturday. And tonight, WWE brings us their second biggest event of the year, SummerSlam, from Nissan Stadium, right? I never remember all the stadium names. I just know it's in Nashville, Tennessee, in a big-ass stadium tonight. And
it's the cursed Titan Stadium. That's all we need to know.
No, we don't need to talk any further about the actual venue other than it's going to be big, a lot of people. And it's going to be a fun night. We've got Mike Partham here, Zach McAdoo, and Ernie Green locking in along with myself, Jake Micah. We're going to preview SummerSlam, but before we get into SummerSlam, I don't know, guys, has anything else happened in the wrestling world since the last time we were together?
Man, it's just been such a dull week. I wish something would happen for once.
Bro, like it feels like it's been so quiet. No, like the wrestling world's been on tilt for like a couple months, and we reached the fever pitch. If you've been living under a rock, Vince McMahon has retired, resigned, whatever you want to call the official terms of what happened from his duties, every duty within the company. Triple H is now in charge of all creative. It feels like a fever dream, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's one of those moments that you're gonna always be like, I remember where I was when I saw the tweet or saw the text that Vince McMahon retired. One of those life-changing moments. So I'll start with you, Partham. We'll go around the horn. Take it any direction you want, because there's been so many different humongous, groundbreaking things within this company in the last couple weeks that there's so many different pieces to take from it.
It all started with Johnny Ace, and it finally blew up with Vince McMahon. And like so many famous people, like so many famous criminals and CEOs, they didn't get him on his crimes, they got him on his financials. Using company funds to pay off all his affairs, shall we say. His side hustles, or whatever you want to call them. I shouldn't be so condescending. It's a lot of these scenarios sound like there was much coercion and a power dynamic going on, and that's just very ugly to hear about. There is some people, and CM Punk, one of my guys, is one of them, thinking, well, do you think Vince is really retired? Do you think he's really just going to step away, or is he going to run a shadow puppet CEO from Connecticut or wherever he's just going to sit around and call up Triple H and Stephanie, or call up Bruce Pritchard and say, hey, I want it done this way, pal. So, I mean, in my opinion, John Laurinaitis is officially out. I mean, not officially, but he's just been pushed to the side very quietly. Vince is not officially in charge as the CEO, president, whatever the hell, creative most especially. But to me, change is not going to come officially, or we won't know for sure that it's come until two other men are removed from power out of the Mount Rushmore of WWE ineptitude. And that is also Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn. And Kevin Dunn's the big one, because if you don't know the story, way back in like 72 or 73, and this is why Kevin Dunn's been around so long, Vince McMahon Sr. Had his tape library saved from a car fire or something like that by Kevin Dunn's father. So Vince, I believe, promised Kevin Dunn's father that Kevin would always have a job here, no matter how bad he was. And of course, Kevin would whisper in his ear, hey, we got to do it this way, because he knew what kind of sports entertainment stuff Vince likes to hear. But anyway, so Kevin Dunn's had a job for life, and the speculation has been once Vince goes, whichever way he goes, however he goes, then Kevin Dunn will go. And there's been rumors flying around, Kevin Dunn might not last long, Kevin Dunn might not last a year, etc., etc. Kevin Dunn is the canary in the coal mine. If he's gone, we know Vince is gone. The longer he stays around, the more possible it is that Vince is somewhere pulling a few extra strings, or whatever strings he's got left. So, but we saw one or two hints of change from Raw and maybe SmackDown. And when we're really going to be able to evaluate if there's change or not is post SummerSlam, because most of this has already been booked, and Triple H might throw in a wild card or two here and there. But once SummerSlam is over with and we get Raw and SmackDown going forward, then we can see if it's all about the game and how you play it.
Love that. Ernie, what were your thoughts?
My whole thoughts were, I thought it's hilarious, and people were rightful for thinking that. We all went to bed being very down on WWE, we woke up and saw the tweet that Triple H is in charge of creative, and all of a sudden everybody's excited about WWE again. Because I think most real fans of wrestling loved NXT. And who ran NXT? Triple H, and NXT was amazing. And it blew every NXT takeover, blew every WWE pay-per-view or
every
live
weekend.
Event.
It was crazy.
Every single weekend, and it wasn't even close. And it's hilarious that some of these AEW guys are coming out and saying, well, we never would have left if Triple H would have in charge of creative. And that's how popular that he is and how I love him. And I don't think they're going to try to get out of their AEW contract to come back or anything like that, but they're just making a statement of their solidarity with Triple H. And I just, I've never known a time where Vince McMahon didn't run WWE, and just the excitement of Triple H, someone younger and fresher and who's proven he really knows how to book like professional wrestling. I think that it's just an exciting time. Again, so long as he's not, cut off by Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn, who, by the way, I swear to God, a guy must be literally blind because he actually said that Becky Lynch is not good looking. I mean, you have to be the biggest idiot in the history of the world. I understand it's subjective, but you're a moron if you think that. Same with AJ Lee. So the sooner,
that was Laurinaitis who said that about AJ Lee, but that's
Laurinaitis is equally. I mean, Laurinaitis is probably the biggest turd in this punch bowl, to be honest with you. So out of all the turds in the punch bowl, but anyway, so yeah, it's really exciting that it looks like hopefully they're weeding out all the low-hanging fruit and the scumbags in the company, and they're going to replace them with decent human beings, and also replace really bad sports entertainment with really good professional wrestling.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see Triple H back. We saw what he could do in NXT, as we said before. And I was just thinking, like, the cliche that we've heard the past 2 years. This is unprecedented times with Vince not in the picture. I mean, we've all sat here and said, I don't remember a time Vince McMahon didn't run the WWE. I mean, he's ran it since, well, almost 20 years before I was born. So I mean,
I believe 1982 or 83 is when he officially bought it from his dad.
Okay,
end of 82. Yep.
So 16 years before I was born. So I mean, I've never known a WWE without Vince. I'm sure. So I mean, it's mind-boggling to see someone else take over, but to see no one thought that this was the way he was going out. Let's get that clear. We all thought he was going to die with die and retire at the same time. Sure. The fact that this is the thing that took him down after all the segments he's done of that degrading women, the fact that it was all shoot. The fact that it was behind the scenes.
It was just him.
That's just crazy.
It's wild, truly wild times. I will say the changes that you will notice, like you said, Mike, with Triple H in charge and everything, it's going to be gradual change. They've got a lot to like turn around, and you can't just like he has a reset, but he has to take time to get there at this point. But the biggest difference is, what was it a couple weeks ago? They had 12 minutes of 13 minutes of wrestling on SmackDown, and last night, opening match, that felt like kind of a statement from Triple H. Opening match, he's like, no, let's just let Drew and Sheamus go for 30 minutes. Let's go for a quarter of our show and just put on a great wrestling match and beat down two big men going at everything. That's felt like the biggest change in these first two shows so far that I've noticed. That was it. What were you going to say jumping in though?
Well, I think Triple H is one of those guys who likes continuity, even when he doesn't like the storytelling and the angles. So he's going to want to wrap up all these loose ends and not just do a hard reset. One, for his own, storytelling purposes, to let from one era to another flow, but also because, and it's been mentioned, they don't want to scare the shareholders into thinking that this is going to be an entirely different product. And what's it going to be? It's going to be better or worse for the ratings and business and whatnot. So they're just going to, let things carry out a little bit over time.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, but you have to think that tonight, whatever twists and changes that he can do to make this night pop just a little bit more are going to happen. So I'm really interested to see what we got going on at SummerSlam tonight. So let's get into the show, because this is a pretty good card. I like everything on it. Where there's gonna be some interesting moments in this match tonight, or in these matches tonight. And I think on the women's side, where we're gonna start, there could be a lot of interesting moments coming, whether it's within the matches that could be great, but also returning superstars and everything else. So we're starting off with, honestly, the match I'm looking forward to the most of the night. It is Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion, defending her title a year late, not exactly a year later, because SummerSlam is like 3 weeks earlier than it ever usually is right now. But almost a year later, from the moment where Becky Lynch came back. And I honestly have never been more mad in my life than watching Becky Lynch beat Bianca Belair in like 8 seconds. So I feel like that's not going to happen in this match, although they'll probably tease us with the manhandle at the beginning again and try to do it like they did at WrestleMania. But I'm so excited to see these two go at it. The story's been great since last year. McAdoo, I'll give my pick first. Bianca's retaining. I think it's time for Bianca to just keep running with it. And they were going to start, I think that Rhea Ripley being back is the next place for Bianca Belair, and let those two go at it with the history they have. So what do you got, McAdoo? We'll go around the horn that way.
If there's something that Triple H changes, I hope it's this, because this is the third time in the calendar year that these two have fought at a Big Four pay-per-view. You've already mentioned the other two, so I mean, please, Triple H, for the love of God, let this rivalry end here for now. They don't need it again, but Bianca Belair is going to retain. But one more thing, it's funny because our friend Mike Straw got called out for being a racist. He's not racist. It was just some idiot on Twitter saying, "Oh, it's sarcasm." No, that dude has no racism on his body. He got called racist because he said he didn't like Bianca Belair. I don't like Bianca Belair either. I just think she's just not good on the mic. I hate. There's a lot of things about her, but I mean,
Straw has had the anti-Bel-Air agenda for a long time. He's not about, and I understand people your criticisms and his criticism and people of her too, but yeah, so I agree they need to get away from each other after this for a little while. This feels like the culmination of it. What about you, Ernie?
You know what? Like, I do agree that they need to get away from it, but this has been a pretty good year-long build. I think the one thing they actually have done right is, it's coming full circle tonight, where it's actually, long-term storytelling and long-term booking, and Becky won the match and no one was really happy about it, and Bianca finally beat her, and now she can exercise the demons of SummerSlam. Yes, they have to move on from the night, but I think the whole angle from then until now has actually been pretty good. And by the way, I think Bianca retained. I think Bianca retains tonight also.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of these matches, we have like WrestleMania Night 3 matches or rematches from, what was the last one? Hell in a Cell, Payback, Money in the Bank, whichever one. They're all melding together in my mind right now. Yeah, Bianca's going to retain. I like Bianca fine. I mean, she doesn't get me overly excited, but she has her own presentation, her own flair about her. I think she's going to be one of the ones that's going to benefit from people being loosened up on the mic a little bit and not being, word for word bound to spit out the script exactly the way it is. Yeah, I hope this is it. I know they're going to have a good match. They had a great match at WrestleMania, despite the fact that it was a little bit. The whole storyline was kind of drawn out even at that point. But yeah, let's just wrap up the loose ends here. I get the sense of maybe something coming at the end, and not necessarily Rhea Ripley. Maybe a returning superstar that's been out for a while.
This is where that was what I was going to go into. Is this feels like. I feel like there's two women who have been out for a very long time, or not a very long time. Well, one a very long time and one a decently long time. But Bayley is supposed to be. There's been rumors about Bayley returning at SummerSlam for weeks now. This feels like a natural spot that could happen as well to get involved with Bianca or in the SmackDown Women's match. But Charlotte Flair is out there as well.
Well, we'll get to that one in a second. If Charlotte's going to return, it's going to be the SmackDown one.
Makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, look at this. We've got this is some real WCW shit. We got a late run in here. Joiner, you could not have shown up at a better time, because we are picking our first match we all just picked. So you are on the spot right away. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Who do you have?
Becky Lynch. I think Becky. I I don't know. I don't know where you would take her character after this if she lost. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go a little rogue here. I'm gonna say Becky Lynch.
Well, yeah, that is. We all picked Bianca, so you are standing alone there. So that could be a nice play for you, no matter what.
I walk alone.
My thing, my dream for Becky, and that's what I really want her to lose, is she's just obviously going crazier and crazier, and I don't know if there's another gear she can turn on it, but if she can do it, if anybody can do it, she can do it. And it feels like maybe, I don't know, if what the most interesting, we'll get to it later with her husband and everything, who's also going crazy, but I feel like they're going to go in opposite directions now with our boy Triple H in charge. Let's go to the other women's title match. Liv Morgan, champion, beat Ronda Rousey, cashed in on her last month. Defending the title for the first time, straight up match here. I don't even know.
The tough one.
It really is. But we were talking about Charlotte right before you came on. I think Liv can lose, but I don't think there's any way they could book a match of her beating Ronda, actually, because she almost lost that shit in the cash-in. She was about to get submitted and rolled out of it, whatever. So I don't see how I can't see a vision of her winning clean over Ronda the way they presented it.
Bayley return.
This could be Bayley too, and that's the Bayley spot. Maybe they both come back. Maybe both of them interfere in this match in some way and both run out. I don't know. But I'm going Liv retains with some shenanigans. I don't think this will be a straight up match in any way. So let's go with Dwayner and go back around.
I'm definitely gonna go Liv Morgan with shenanigans. Like you said, realistically, and for straight storyline, like how could you have Liv Morgan beat Ronda Rousey straight up? She is considered one of the baddest women on the planet, and little Liv Morgan's gonna beat her straight up. It just doesn't make any sense, even in WWE storylines. So I think I think it'll Liv wins, but again by some type of shenanigan, maybe a Bayley return.
I was pissed off after the Money in the Bank match because I'm a big Ronda Rousey fan. But if she wins this match, there's something wrong with the booking, because I am so tired of these Money in the Bank winners always getting screwed over, like immediately losing the title. Go back how many years how they've done it. I mean, Miz lost in 8 days. That's a joke. Just Big E have it 2 months. He lost it, won it in November, lost it in day one. So please, for love of God, Morgan needs to hold the title more than 28 days. So I'm going to go Liv Morgan here for the sake of change. That's not going to be the short Money in the Bank reign.
For McAdoo's sanity, what we got, Ernie?
I don't want to look like Becky Lynch.
I am going with Ronda Rousey by either count out or disqualification. I think she's going to win the match, but not the title. So that's my prediction for the match. That's my prediction for the match. I think they're going to make her look really strong. My prediction with the women's division is at WrestleMania in Los Angeles, we're going to see the rematch between Becky and Ronda Rousey. So I think that at the time, right now, Bianca and Liv are going to hang on to the belts, and somehow, some way, Becky and Ronda are going to fight for the title at WrestleMania, the Raw or SmackDown. I'm predicting. Someone said, "Where's Becky going to go from here?" I think she's literally going to go to SmackDown. And when they have the draft in October or whatever. So I'm picking Liv to retain, but not win the match.
Usually SummerSlam is where all your favorites get screwed over, whether you go back to Daniel Bryan or even we mentioned Bianca Belair last year, where just some big injustice, befalls your favorite champion and they just get screwed out of the title or whatever. And a lot of people were predicting or anticipating this happening to Liv. And it probably would have happened to Liv. She wouldn't have even won the Money in the Bank briefcase and won the title the same night, although I would have liked to, see a Money in the Bank women's winner carry it for more than one day, but I digress. If Ronda didn't go to bat for Liv backstage, she wouldn't have won the title, much less the Money in the Bank briefcase. And now that it's a whole new regime, now that it's no longer Vince in charge, now it's a whole new ball game and it's wide open here. And I think they've already pulled the trigger on Lynn and they have to keep going with her. However you're going to do it, shenanigans or not, whether she finds a way to squeak by Ronda cleanly or Charlotte decides to come back and screw Ronda over, which would put us in another Ronda Charlotte program, and I don't want to see that. I think that's a little too repetitive. I don't think Triple H is going to revisit that necessarily. I hope not. But one way or another, Liv is going to win, and Liv is going to retain her title.
All right, we have 4 on Liv and Ernie going rogue there on Ronda. I think it's going to be a fun match. I'm really excited about both women's titles matches going to the night. Let's get into, I know, the match that all of us are looking forward to the most by far. Logan Paul and The Miz, the two guys everybody thinks about when you think about SummerSlam, and Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Logan Paul, Miz. Like that's what I think about when it comes to this event. So Partham, what do you realistically think is going to come out of this match? Ciampa's involved. Do we get Jake Paul running? Jake Paul coming out with Logan, some double Paul action? Like, what's going to happen here?
They would have to throw down some major money to have Jake Paul come in just to run interference for Logan Paul. Ciampa, yeah, I could see getting involved. But the point of this whole thing is WWE so badly wants to make fetch happen. And Logan Paul face is not going to happen. Not if any WWE crowd has anything to say about it. Unless they pump in crowd noise, unless they continue that tradition from the Vince Thunderdome era. Logan Paul's going to go over, don't get me wrong. He's the celebrity. He's signed to buku dollars for however many events a year. And not just at WrestleMania, but anytime celebrities show up, by the way, spoiler alert, guys, hint, hint, celebrities always win. I actually made that mistake and picked the Mysterios over Logan Paul and Miz this WrestleMania, and I learned my lesson. So Logan Paul is going to beat the Miz. But I don't know how they're going to have him be the face in this manner. I mean, he got the crowd to chant a few things about Miz's tiny balls or whatever. But unless he's a cheerleader, that he can't win over the crowd unless he starts cutting some nice genuine promos, which is not really in his character. But whatever, one way or the other, Logan Paul's going to win.
Yeah, I will go on the record and say one of my favorite moments in WrestleMania history was when he did the Three Amigos and mocked Eddie Guerrero. I thought that was one of the greatest heel moves ever. And then, so having said that, how are you making that guy a babyface? Like, that crowd wanted to murder him, especially in Texas when he did that, and I was laughing so hard. So why do you make that guy a babyface? You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, he's a natural heel because he's a natural douchebag in real life. So you can't make that guy a face. It's just, impossible. Having said that, yeah, Logan Paul's going to win.
All right. I just had it up. Now I forgot what it was. But this was the biggest. This was the big, odds-wise, this is the biggest difference between the two odds. And I thought that was funny. Logan Paul minus 2,000 versus The Miz plus 700.
Wow.
Yeah. For that reason alone, I think Logan Paul is taking it. But I just, that's amazing to me how a celebrity has that big odds.
Am I up?
Yeah.
Go for it, Dwayne.
Here's my thing on Logan Paul. I hate the brother. I think Jake Paul's a fucking douchebag. But there's no denying the athleticism, right? I mean, no.
That's fine.
There's athleticism there. I think he has the charisma, but going back to what Partham said, he needs to be able to cut promos. Honestly, I think I could see WWE really, really pushing this guy. He has the size. He has the athleticism. He has the charisma. I may be in the minority here, but I could definitely see Logan Paul holding the belt one day. I'm not even kidding you.
Which belt are we talking about?
I'm talking the belt. 100% the belt. You can shake your head all you want, man, but crazier things have happened in the WWE.
Yeah, Jinder freaking Mahal.
Yeah, but still,
this would be crazier. I think.
I'm just saying. I could see someday if he were to go WWE long term and walk away from the whole boxing thing, which has made him boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of money. I mean, I don't think you can get any higher than fighting Floyd Mayweather in his career, right? Like, I mean, he fought Floyd Mayweather. Like, what else is he going to do? And he didn't get knocked out. As staged as that fight kind of seemed for a while. Like, he didn't get knocked out, and he went the full. No, it was TKO, right?
No, it went the
Whatever.
distance.
Went the
Did they
distance.
go the distance? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
No, it was Floyd. It was Connor who couldn't go the distance. He got
Correct.
He got
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. I just going back to what Ernie said, like him doing the Three Amigos at WrestleMania and him like kind of soaking it in as a heel. Like I just that right there kind of turned me a little bit on Logan Paul. I'm like, man, this guy just doesn't give a shit, man. He lives for the hatred. Like, I love a good heel, and I think he would make a great heel. And with the proper work put into his microphone abilities, the athleticism's there. I think this guy could be somebody to watch in WWE in the future. You guys can shake your heads all you want, but I really do believe it. And I'm really excited to watch this match. Either way, it can honestly go either way. I don't think this is the end of Logan Paul and Miz. I think WWE wants Miz to kind of be, the guy who helps carry him a little bit, just because, I think Miz maybe takes a little bit of pride in being a mentor, at this point in his career, because, that guy could lose 20 matches in a row and it's not going to matter. It's where he is. So
he's definitely in a good gatekeeper role now.
100%. So I could see this match honestly going either way. I could see it. I could see Maurice getting involved and getting the Miz the win. I could see Jake Paul being in the crowd for whatever reason and then causing a distraction and getting Logan Paul the win. There's a lot of ways to go, but ultimately I am going to say Logan Paul wins, because it wouldn't make much sense for him to lose if you're trying to give, if you're trying to gain him momentum in the direction I think they're trying to take him.
I just want to say, if Logan Paul ever wants to win the belt, he's going to have to increase his work rate and not just be a guest 2 or 3 times a year. Not in Triple H's regime.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we did live through the Brock Lesnar era.
Mm-hmm.
Not
in the current Roman Reigns era.
I was just going to say we're living through the Roman Reigns era, which is actually less.
The thing about both. Yeah, but both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at least were wrestlers in the past.
Oh yeah,
they started to be a part-time.
Yeah, and that's why we might be able to tolerate them at certain times and to a certain point. But Logan Paul, he's going to have to, up his game if he wants to. If he's thinking about winning the belt one day,
a big weekly appearances, 100%.
Definitely.
But I just get that vibe. I get that vibe from him, man. Like, I feel like if he were willing to commit himself.
He's got the potential, yes.
To wrestling the way he did boxing, I could see him being a world champion someday.
I hope not. That's what I'm going to leave it at. Dwayne, that bet you better not be like the
angel
of death coming for WWE here.
You are not my friend, Jake. Your friend Jake is not my friend.
All right, there's more celebrities on here, but the thing, they're calling this a celebrity match, bro. I feel like Pat is just one of the boys now. Like, he is. This is a wrestler. This is what Pat McAfee's 4th match, technically, 3rd or 4th match. He's had some big spots. Obviously, this is a match with Happy Bum-Ass Baron Court, whatever you want to call him. He's got a lot of names, a lot of titles, a lot of hats he wears. Really, a lot of hats he wears. Scumbag Corbin, all that good stuff. I'll start off and then pass it over to Partham here, or to Dwayne. Back to Dwayne here. I think I'm going Happy Corbin. I don't think Corbin's Corbin doesn't get pinned a lot. Like, it really doesn't happen very often. And what does Pat McAfee need to win for in this match more than anything? I think that I can't see him getting over on Corbin. Theory was one thing at WrestleMania, it was served a purpose because then he lost to Vince, which is like way more embarrassing than anything of losing to Pat McAfee. I think that could happen to Theory. I just don't see it happening to Corbin, and I need a zag here somewhere too. So I think Pat gets beat down again by bum ass Corbin, and maybe he's not so happy after this a little bit.
I could go another one. I can go either way on. I think Baron kind of needs the win, doesn't he? Oh, and there he's gone. I would say Corbin kind of needs the win a little bit. I mean, he's not a guy who needs to win. He's not. I don't think he's in the Miz's league yet, where it doesn't really matter to him. Like, how many times he wins or loses. He's still fairly, I don't want to say new in his career, but he hasn't really held like any belts or any straps or anything like that. Like he has no, I don't know. I think Corbin has to win. I mean, he's a phenomenal heel. He makes you hate him, but I think this is a win he actually needs, and Pat McAfee doesn't need it. I think Corbin needs this win, so it would make sense that Corbin would win.
What you're saying makes sense. Both of you guys made sense with the Corbin stuff. There's something about him. I can't go Corbin here. I think it's Pat McAfee's match here. But maybe this is the last match with the Happy Corbin moniker, and he just descends into madness, and yeah, we get angry Corbin because he loses his match or something.
Or he loses his match and he has a fucking implosion after, just fucking loses his mind, just has a mental breakdown, and that's when you get away from the Happy Corbin bullshit.
I actually like the Happy Corbin bullshit, but I don't like it compared to the lone wolf that he became. When he was in NXT and getting to WWE, he was a legit badass threat. And I think that after tonight, I predict Pat McAfee's going to win because I believe that Triple H will rightfully build him back into that actual badass lone wolf. Maybe not exactly the lone wolf gimmick again, but into that more serious of a professional wrestler where you have to take him serious and not not the comedy stuff. So I predict Pat McAfee's going to win, and that is going to turn Baron Corbin into a more serious character. And I think it's going to happen with a lot of characters now. A lot of the comedy is going to go out of the way. They're going to gear these angles toward adults and not sell their intelligence anymore.
One of my favorite WWE themes was "I Bring the Darkness," which is why I think it was so wasted on Baron Corbin, because he just did not personify that song. At least the energy he brought did not encapsulate that song. This guy's a badass and he's coming to just beat you down. And so he goes into Bum Corbin and now he's Happy Corbin. Well, he's been Happy Corbin for what, a year now? The hell has he got to be happy about? I mean, take a look at the records. When's the last time this guy has won a match on pay-per-view? A significant match, even on a team. Now, to Dwayne's point, maybe that's why he needs to win, but no one cares about this guy as Happy Corbin. We barely pitied him as bum-ass Corbin, so he doesn't need to win. He's just a punching bag. Everybody loves Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee's momentum is only going higher and higher every time he has a match and just shows out the way he does. So Pat McAfee's going to win. Like I said, celebrities never lose.
Real quick, if we don't see a McAfee punt this match, I'm going to be upset. Because we didn't get one at Mania, and I was mad.
He's going to have to bring out all the tricks, that's for sure. Ernie, who did you end up picking? Did you pick Corbin or Pat?
McAfee.
Right?
McAfee.
Okay.
Jake, who did you pick?
I'm actually going to change to McAfee, too. I like this one. I'm going to change to McAfee.
I'm sticking with bum ass. I got to stay away from you guys
so just
on
one.
This one. Just one, yeah. I'll keep it on him. But that was very compelling, I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to be, don't get me wrong, this is my brain picking this. My heart will be with Pat McAfee that whole match. I'm gonna be as much of a mark for this match as anything else on this card. Because
do you think they're actually gonna draw out? I mean, there's a little history here. Yeah, they played for the Colts, but do you think they're gonna actually draw this out for another match?
No.
Let's just have Pat McAfee win and move on.
This one coming up here, there's a lot of interesting elements I think could be in this match. We got the Mysterios versus Judgment Day, no DQ match. We had Rey Mysterio's. That was honestly the best timing possible for Triple H to take over, was to handle Rey Mysterio's 20th celebration, because he gave it was a nice long promo. Was a little worried about Dom turning on him during that promo, but they held that off. And then we go backstage and we get the eventual beatdown we knew was coming. From a returning Rhea Ripley, who in a no DQ situation is no doubt going to be involved some way in this match with Damian Priest and Finn Balor there. Is Edge going to be a factor in this match in any way, shape, or form? Seems like a guy who could make a spot here or make a return here at a certain angle. Who knows? There's a lot of different ways this match. I think it'll be really fun, really chaotic, and these four. I mean, I'm not as sure about Dom, but the other three workers can do some crazy stuff in a no DQ setting, fast paced and everything else. What do you think, Partham? What do you? Pick. Let me go with my pick here. I'm going Judgment Day.
Actually, go the other way around the horn, because I got to think about this a little bit. Actually, there's a lot of elements here. Yeah,
you're on the spot.
It's tough. I think the Judgment Day needs the win.
That's where I'm at too.
I think they need the win, man. For this to be a thing, they need the win. And we've seen the Edge promos and stuff like that. You have to imagine Edge is somehow involved with this. So I'm gonna go Judgment Day, but I think Edge shows up at the end and while they're celebrating and just wreaks havoc.
I love that. Do you think there's any? How do you guys feel? And just anybody raise their hand, whatever, about a Dom element of this, if he's actually going to turn or not? Because they've mentioned it a couple
that's
times.
why it was tough for me, because I think that how much longer are we going to keep the Mysterio family together? You know what I mean? Like, there's always, you go down the history of that of like the family, who's your poppy. So there's always, I don't know. I just feel that, to me, it's inevitable that they break up at some point. That I was surprised it didn't happen months ago when Mysterio was costing Dominic matches.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
when
I mean?
I thought it was coming too.
And it just never happened. So I think if it were going to happen, this could be the time. And I think it would be good for Dominic. I think it would. I think if you're going to put that guy on a solo run, you get him away from his dad, let him kind of go off on his own. And I mean, who better to put him with than a guy like Finn Balor? You know what I mean?
That's true.
I don't know.
That's a good point. What do you got, Ern? Or what do you got, McAdoo?
So funny enough, I have Ray turning on Dominic because if you go back to Monday night, what you had the purple and black bodysuit from Halloween Havoc, was it 98 that Mysterio wore against Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That purple and black matches the Judgment Day colors, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's
I
true.
think there's
Seems like it
a
matches
swerve
the
there.
Dark Order's colors, but I digress. Go on.
Yeah, it's just, here, no, the company. Let me have my moment here, Partham. I felt smart for once, okay? But I have Judgment Day winning this one, and then Ray turns on Dom.
I have Judgment Day winning also. I just think that they are a very intriguing up and coming faction, and also two guys that Triple H is known to like are Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and for good reason, because they're both two very, very, very good professional wrestlers. And I think as good as Finn Balor was as the face champion in NXT, he's been equally good as the kind of like the heel guy in this group. So I think that's going to happen. And don't forget that Dominic is not Ray's son. He's Eddie's son. Don't you guys remember Eddie's bedtime stories? Which, by the way, is one of the greatest promos ever. But yeah, I'm going with Judgment Day.
See, typical 50-50 WWE booking would say the Mysterios got the win on, what was it, Raw? So that they would give the win now to Judgment Day with it being no DQ, and it's not a straight-up match, so they can give the win to Judgment Day through, legal shenanigans without making the Mysterios look weak, assuming no one turns. Rhea Ripley could certainly get involved now that it's no DQ, and unless they get some female help of some sort, they can't really fight back against her.
There was the stare down, bro. They had a nice little stare down with Lee Mysterio, who was training at some point in the past.
Yeah, the Buddy Matthews on a pole match. We'll look forward to that one. But I think you do want to keep the Judgment Day's momentum going. Rey Mysterio is one of those guys, like we've talked about Miz and one other guy maybe, that you can afford to have them lose, and they are still strong characters. They're not going to look that much weaker. Whether Dom turns on Ray or not, I do think Judgment Day needs this win if they want to keep their momentum going as a heel faction. Whether Edge returns during the match, he would have to return after the match, because if he returns during the match, then the Mysterios have to win, because Edge has to help them win. I think he would return after the match to get his revenge, because he wants to make it about him against Judgment Day, and maybe doesn't care too much about the Mysterios or whatever. But either one or the, I think if you have Dom turn, that would be the big moment, and you would hold off the Edge returning moment. But SummerSlam seems like the right place to do an Edge return moment. But one way or the other, I guess my feeling is towards go with the Judgment Day, regardless of whether their shenanigans legal or not, Dom turning or not. Yeah, you go with Judgment Day. It's curious because I looked over both the odds. I've seen the odds go one way or the other, and I saw like Bleacher Report's picks, and they have a whole staff of picks, everybody went with the Mysterios, every single one of them. And I don't think it's that easy to pick. But I think with what we discussed so far, even though it's a different regime and Vince would have 50-50 booked this, but I think it's easy to put the momentum back on Judgment Day side with the no DQ match.
That's the thing. Once I saw the no DQ, I was like, oh, so they're going to put Judgment Day back over, and that's the plan here. And that it makes a lot of, like everything you guys said, it makes a lot of sense to do it in this moment. Get Finn and Damian Priest heated up, like you said, Ernie. We know that Triple H loves both these guys, brought them both in. Obviously, Finn Balor, former NXT champion, Damian Priest, North American champion. There's a lot of faith in those guys, and yeah, I think that this could be a highlight for them in this kind of setting, where this could be like both the tag matches on this card are both going to be high octane, fast paced. Like, we're gonna see tag team wrestling. NXT tag team wrestling was incredible, the way that they let those guys go, and I feel like that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to about this new regime is the tag team wrestling scene that could come out of it. And so make one of these teams look strong. You got Rey Mysterio on a team with Dom. Like, no matter what, Rey Mysterio can be a threat to the tag team titles or anything else at any time. Like, he's a legend, and it doesn't matter who his partner could be. So heat up the Judgment Day, who everybody's been kind of like, what's going on with them? And they've had some bad luck with the Rhea injury too, because I think she was going to be a big part of it. So Judgment Day for sure. Let's go to the other tag team match, and this starts playing into all sorts of stuff on the rest of this card, because the Bloodline represented with their titles here. The Usos, the champions, will be defending against the Street Profits yet again, with special guest referee Double J Jeff Jarrett in the house. So you know there's going to be some shenanigans going on in this match for sure. I've been back and forth on this. This is the most up in the air match for me going into the night. Another one of the ones probably I'm most excited about behind Bel-Air and Lynch. I feel like it's got to be the Street Profits in this moment, though. Like, this feels like the time. You want to talk about guys that Triple H loves. It's the Street Profits as a tag team. I was just watching SummerSlam 2019 the other day, and I forgot that the Street Profits were just showing up in like WWE segments randomly in between, just like doing bumpers and everything while they were still at NXT. Like, he loves those guys. And depending on what you think is going to happen in the main event tonight, that's a whole other story. We'll talk about that obviously at the end of the show. But I feel like a good point of tension they could do is to have the Usos slip up here. And the story of these two is actually that, I mean, the Usos didn't really win the last time they fought at pay-per-view. His shoulder, or Montez's shoulder, was supposedly still up, and it was a disputed win. That's how we end up with special guest expert referee Double J Jeff Jarrett. I don't know how he plays into this.
Oh, he's gonna hit somebody with a guitar, and you know it.
Yeah, someone's getting hit. He was already yelling at the Usos. So the other night, Partham, what do you think's gonna happen here? I'm going with the Street Profits, and that's me picking with my heart, maybe more than anything else. But I'm doing it.
As long as the bloodline's together, as long as the storyline continues, I think the Usos retain. And I could see the Street Profits being champions, but it's not quite time to pull the trigger yet. And we keep hearing about how they want to push, I believe it's Angelo Dawkins they want to push as the singles wrestler, although not Montez Ford is nothing to sneeze at. I mean,
the opposite. I heard Montez Ford.
Was it Montez Ford?
Yeah.
Am I mistaken?
He's
Okay.
got he's gotten a lot bigger.
Okay.
Notice he's put on some size, and I think that's specifically for a singles run.
Well, one way or another, I think they're going to be trying to see what these guys can do as singles competitors. And even though you'd want to get them a tag team title reign before that, I think they're still going to want to continue the whole bloodline storyline. Also, the Street Profits, remember wrestling booking logic. They look strong on that go-home segment with Jeff Jarrett. So the 50-50 thinking is, the Usos go over in the pay-per-view.
So 50-50 thinking I don't think exists anymore, thankfully. But
it might, but it might not.
I am going to go with the Usos. I mean, my heart says Street Profits. I think that the one thing they're going to keep for continuity purposes moving forward that they're not going to blow up is I think the Bloodline storyline is going to go on probably at the very least until next WrestleMania. So I think they're going to want to keep the Usos at this point as tag team champions. My heart says Street Profits. I am picking the Usos.
Damn it, Ernie! You just changed my. You just made me think about this because I was gonna. I wrote saying Street Profits are gonna win, and now you got me thinking. Am I wrong? And I think you just changed my mind there because in my head, I had the Usos gonna lose this match, and then Friday night or Monday night, whatever the hell, Roman was gonna kick him out of the Bloodline, and then Roman loses the title at Clash of Castle against Drew McIntyre. I don't think it happens anymore because you just because, like you said, the Bloodline's gonna probably stay a thing until WrestleMania. So all that goes away, and I think the Usos win and the Street Profits break up tonight.
McAdoo's just not ready for the Bloodline to be over yet. He's like, you know what? No, let's keep it rolling.
No,
we're
any
keeping
excuse
this
to
shit
keep
till
Roman Reigns champion.
What's up, Dwayner? What do you think?
When part of them started talking, I was on the board. When you generated, Jake, I'm sorry, I was on board with Street Profits. But my mind changes constantly in the matter of seconds. So, I really, really, really want to say Street Profits. I really, really like, just like you, Jake. My heart says Street Profits, but I'm gonna go the Usos, just because I think I'm going Street Profits.
I was gonna be so happy if I got it alone there. I think if Triple H wasn't in charge, I would have picked the Usos. I just know how much Triple H fucking loves the Street Profits. We've heard all the time, and this feels like the one they could win and we have the title for until the Rumble or something, and then lose back to the Usos, and we just get a fall of the Usos getting bullied by Roman again or something. There is all the rumors about Solo Sikoa as well coming up. That's been for a couple weeks. I don't know if that's changed under the Triple H regime or not, but he could have some sort of influence either in this match.
I want another
or in the main event. I mean, it makes the most sense for him to come in eventually. And
I thought for sure at some point, before Naomi and Sasha became tag team partners and tag team champions, that Naomi was going to be brought into the fold somehow. Because
I did too.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they kicked around that idea.
Huh?
They've kicked around that idea.
Yeah, why not? I mean, she needed the boost. I mean, she got the boost with Sasha to an extent, but I mean, just being there with her husband and in the bloodline, like, it just made sense. But I don't know why they never pulled the trigger on that.
Speaking of associations with the bloodline, regardless of who we pick, do we think honorary Uso Sami Zayn gets involved here?
That's another thing that you're mentioning about, we're talking about Triple H and everything. Some of the guys that aren't on this card, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, it's also two guys we know that are probably going to have a prominent role going forward. Yeah, where's Sami Zayn fit into this? It feels like there's a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up here, but I definitely won't be surprised if he shows up in that last man standing match. I mean, why not? I think that match could be very chaotic in that way, and see Sammy just get, suplexed in F5 by Brock Lesnar a couple times. Everybody's gonna pop for that. So who knows, man? This match I'm really interested about see what Jeff Jarrett does in this. Like, he's the star of the weekend. This is his weekend. This is his this is his warm up before his big main event tomorrow in Nashville. So I want to see how they're gonna get him involved. It's gonna be crazy. The other guy's big night tonight, or potentially big night, or potentially catastrophic night, depending on how you think this match really is going to go more than anything to start it off. The United States title, Bobby Lashley, United States champion, facing off against Theory. I'll kick off and then kick over to Dwayner. I think Lashley wins this, and I honestly think they're going to try to eliminate the possibility of, at least in our minds, of Theory coming back, and Bobby is just going to like decimate Theory in some way, or the Usos and your boy Sami Zayn that we were talking about there are going to decimate Theory in some way after this match to try to quell the threat of a cash in later on, because we do know that we did see the Usos, smacking him in the neck on Monday, the double super kicks, Roman threatening him. It feels like there's a way that they could do that where the Bloodline's like, we're just going to take care of this problem right away. And then all night we're thinking about, oh, like Theory did get knocked out, but we literally saw him just get added to a main event a couple months ago. So could he still get like this heroes thing? It would be a nice little point of tension. So I'm getting Bobby to retain, and then Theory is still probably going to be involved in this main event somehow, angle somehow, whether it's in the main event or earlier in the show. What do you think, Dwayne?
I think so much changes with Vince stepping down when it comes to Theory. I think he's still going to get a giant push, but I just don't think it's going to go out down the same way that maybe Vince envisioned. I think Lashley wins here. It doesn't make much sense to take the belt off him, in my opinion, especially when Theory is Money in the Bank. I think Lashley should get a decent title reign here. And I think down the line he'll be in line to possibly win the belt back. So I'm gonna say Lashley here, because to me Theory going over on Lashley doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
All right, hold on. I'm getting the character here. I gotta try to do this as best as possible. Theory's daddy's not here anymore. Lashley's gonna continue to hold the title because Theory has the Money in the Bank, and I don't think you're gonna have him carry the Money in the Bank and the United States title, because if he has both, you lose that effect that that element of surprise of when he's going to cash in, because I don't think he's gonna have both the WWE title and the United States title. And they kind of want to build prestige with the U.S. title, and so for that reason, I'll go Lashley.
I will say this. Daddy's not there anymore, but I actually think that Theory has really stepped up his game in the past week or two without Daddy being there, which I actually have been impressed about, because I haven't really been overly impressed with him. I liked him in NXT when I actually liked him in NXT. I saw a couple of his early matches on house shows, but he really has stepped his game up recently, and I'm actually impressed by that. But yeah, Lashley's going to win tonight.
Yeah, this is more about where Theory goes from here as far as the title picture is concerned, and not the U.S. title, because of course Lashley's going to win. I made the mistake of thinking Theory was going to win because that's how they would give him his push last pay-per-view. Little did I know they were going to just throw him in the.
You were right. You were right. There was a push coming.
Yeah, but just not the one I was thinking of. I thought Theory was going to go over Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank because of shenanigans or whatever, because I can't see Bobby Lashley straight up losing to Austin Theory.
Yeah.
But, I think Lashley's going to retain his title. I think there might be some shenanigans after the match is over with the Usos coming in and just, straight beating down Theory or whatever. Wherever that match is going to be placed on the card is going to be interesting. Do they draw it out for the entire night, or is it the match like one or two matches before the main event, and it gives you more of the sense that, oh, maybe they took care of Theory or maybe they didn't. Maybe, I don't know, without his daddy being there, I don't see Theory now winning the WWE Universal Unified Heavyweight Championship in any short order or anytime soon. I think it'll eventually be a failed cash-in of some sort. Well, or maybe they just have him cash in at Clash at the Castle after Drew wins, and they get the hometown guy in UK win, and then they get some serious heel heat on Theory. But I think it's too fast for Theory to be a champion at this point. Maybe a year from now, he could still be a very young champion in the record books. But without Papa Vince being there, I think Triple H is going to rein in Theory just a little bit. He'll let him shine. He'll let him have his time in the main event spotlight right now. But he's not winning the U.S. title back. He's not winning the WWE Championship. So Bobby Lashley goes over here.
All right, we got a sweep for Bob there. And I'm agreeing. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Theory in a minute too anyways. But before we get to the main event talk, there's another main eventer that is in an interesting spot again. Seth Rollins is not having his match with Riddle. That also, we want to talk about stark contrasts in the show. One of the most vicious curb stomps we've ever seen in Triple H's first show running Raw. I mean, onto the steel steps, but onto the corner of him like that. I don't think I've ever seen it like that.
It was good camera work too.
It was. And it was just a great moment. We've seen cinder blocks, we've seen on steel steps, everything else. But yeah, great shot, great camera work from him coming over, and a vicious beatdown. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that Triple H's boy Seth Rollins at the end of his first Raw he is the last face you see on the show. He gets a stare down with Roman walking out to go attack Riddle. It's a big point of prominence. So there are rumors about what he's potentially going to do, at least match wise tonight. We'll start Partham with you. What do you think Seth Rollins is going to do match wise potentially? And do you think that he's going, I mean, the guys in the main event have a lot of history with Seth Rollins as well. And it feels like whether it's during the match, after the match, something could be going on there. Do you have any big predictions for him? Because he's in an interesting spot on this card again.
I mean, the feeling going in since Monday, and we heard Riddle was not going to be involved for whatever reason, was going to be, just like so many other things we're running back from WrestleMania, Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent. But we didn't even get that. We didn't even get a hint at that on SmackDown or any other place. So if it's going to be a match, it's going to be like a hot-shotted match. And looking at the card, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches for a 3-hour SummerSlam. Unless we get multiple matches going like 20, 30 minutes plus. And of course, they're going to put in video packages galore and just stretch out the time. I guess they can always do that. They can do that with 6 matches at a regular pay-per-view, but whatever. I think we were talking before the show about what the rumor was about Seth Rollins getting a match, whatever. People have been discussing, well, could Johnny Gargano show up, or could Fiend show back up, or et cetera, et cetera. I think we will get a Seth Rollins match of some sort, even though it's not advertised. And I think Seth Rollins needs to go over, because talk about guys who can afford to take losses, but you got to give Seth a win at some point. And especially under a Triple H regime, he's going to try and build Seth back up.
He's also one of the guys, before I get to you, Ernie, he's one of the guys that we were talking about the cartoony elements. And obviously Seth Rollins is like the biggest target of the IWC for the cartoony stuff. I don't mind the Joker stuff. I do get why people.
I love the Joker stuff, man.
Really enjoy
when he
it,
came out in the purple and green suit the one time, I was fucking rolling.
Beautiful.
I'm like, that's
Beautiful.
awesome. Just paint his face already. Who gives a shit? Just let him go full Joker.
Yeah, I don't think people so much as think of Seth as a cartoony character. He's not a humor character. He's just very out there with his outfits and his attitude and whatnot.
Yes, yeah. Ernie, what you got?
Unbelievable.
I think Seth is the best overall wrestler in the world right now with his full package. The way
for me.
I mean, his character, his promos, his in-ring work. I think he's the best in the world right now. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He's one of the most believable. He's one of the most believable people in wrestling right now. I mean, you can actually believe that he is that big of a whack job, because he sells it so well. I think he's going to wrestle someone tonight. I think he's going to wrestle someone returning. I don't think it's going to be a giant splash, but he's going to wrestle someone returning tonight.
And the rumor that they sent out earlier, before we get to you, McAdoo, I know you look very excited to come in with this. The rumor that's been out there earlier, Triple H we got to remember, I'm going to try to remember this going forward with all dirt sheet stuff when it comes to WWE, is he's a guy who has manipulated dirt sheets and like sent fake matches out there and stuff like that. Like, he's not afraid to mix it up with the IWC and stuff. So maybe that he's throwing out names just forget people talk about a certain name to not think anybody else is coming. McAdoo, you're so ready for whatever take you got right now. So I'm so excited to hear what you got to say.
I am praying. I know it's probably going to happen, but please, if it's Johnny Gargano, you guys might be able to hear me scream from my house. That's a promise. I want Johnny Gargano back on the main roster. I know he left, but it's been, 6 months since we last seen him in a ring?
I read that he appeared on Impact once.
He did. He appeared the other day on Impact in an Alex Shelley segment, just like not as like a big thing or anything, just kind of like a pre-tape little video thing. I gotta grab my computer charger quickly.
If it's Gargano, I mean, he has to win, right? How do you bring Gargano back after a 6-month hiatus to the main roster and have him lose?
I don't think so. I think Gargano could lose because he's I mean, it's Seth Rollins too. Like Seth, like you said, like I know he's been losing a lot lately, but there's no shame in Gargano coming out, putting a 5-star match out and losing with Seth Rollins.
Seth has 1 win in the year in a pay-per-view. or
Yeah.
premium live event, excuse me. It was at the Royal Rumble and due to DQ. Seth is due. Let's get that in the open. But if it was returning Gargano, one can make the argument.
There's a number of guys this could be. I mean, I follow a lot of the YouTube channels and stuff like that, and a lot of the speculation and guys who speculate. Names that get thrown out there are Bray Wyatt, Gargano, maybe it will be Edge. I mean, I don't know. Edge wouldn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know, man. I think he gets a match. I think Triple H, that's when we first see Triple H is during that segment, just because Hunter was the one who quote tweeted what he tweeted out. It was like, I feel you or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Triple H is the one that comes out and introduces this personally. Maybe even comes down to the ring. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be somebody none of us could have possibly thought or fathomed, and I think it's going to make that arena lose.
Ric Flair.
Yeah,
He's gonna pull double duty.
it'll be Batista.
Woo!
Wait, so Jake, you think Triple H is going to play a little Tyrion Lannister game and start leaking certain things to different things to different people and see which one gets out there?
As we were sitting here talking about it, the name that we were talking about earlier, I was like, that's a name that Tripp is just throwing out there. He's just putting that out there. People are like, oh, that'll be good. Like, we like that. And then it's going to be, like Dwayne said, something blow us out of the water. The Bray Wyatt thing is very interesting, too. I mean, we haven't heard anything from this man in so long.
Well, we do hear like a tweet, a very vague tweet, or like a status change or whatever before every other pay-per-view or whatever.
I think if he were going to debut on AEW, it would have happened by now.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going. I think I've honestly at this point I would rather see him back in WWE doing what he can do and then being in AEW. So a spot like tonight with Rollins, like you just said, or at the end of this main event in some way to get involved, and then you can send off some Fiend. It has a different version of the Fiend.
Evolve form of Bray.
Speaking of Gargano and places he's popped up, he also I think has if you follow All Ego Ethan Page's YouTube, he's from AEW. He likes to do toy hunts, and that's pretty much the only vlog he's doing these days. Johnny Gargano, I think, is going to pop up in a future toy hunt vlog of his. So I don't know if they would if he has plans to go back to WWE and they would allow him to do that. I'm not sure.
Well, I feel like Trips is probably a little more lenient on the Twitch and video stuff than Vince ever was or ever would have been.
One way or another, he's enjoying being a father right now. He throws a few videos of his adorable kid out there every once in a while. So whether or not he's ready to, come home from paternal leave or not, we'll have to see.
What if it's just Triple H just opening the forbidden door for the first time, and we get I don't know, Hangman Page shows up and fights Seth Rollins? Like that's not at this point it's like a 1% possibility, but I have to at least consider the possibility that Trips called up Tony Khan was just like Andrade. I know he's here. He's probably going to be in the building. Can't I just put him out there with Seth Rollins and let them go for 20 minutes?
Could dream match scenario here for Seth Rollins.
I wouldn't put it past Triple H to start, talking with AEW or any other promotion as far as the forbidden, but not this. It can't be this. He's got to get at least a good few months, maybe a WrestleMania season under his boot, and then he can, start talking with other people.
I think he has enough clout, enough respect in wrestling circles.
You want to know what my dream is?
Do whatever the fuck he wants.
My dream.
For me.
Let's go through who we want it to be no matter what, and then we'll get into the main event. My dream is not like anybody. It's going to be someone that is understated, but I think would make wrestling, like especially smart wrestling fans and everything else, very happy to see these two in a match and just see this guy put in this position. I want Roderick Strong to be the person that is fighting Seth Rollins tonight. Roderick Strong and Seth Rollins have a ton of history in ROH. He's been so unhappy. And maybe he gets his release that he actually has wanted and goes to AEW, or maybe Triple H he's a guy that, Triple H brought in everything else. I don't think he'd have like a huge prominent role, and it wouldn't be the biggest like pop or return or anything. But I think it'd be all the rumors we've heard about him being unhappy to then have him kind of get this moment, even if it's his biggest moment he ever gets at SummerSlam, to have it with Rollins, a guy that if you guys have time, go back and watch some Roderick Strong, Tyler Black matches in ROH because it's some of the best chemistry I've seen with Rollins specifically, but just around two guys in general in the Indies. So that's my pick. What do you got, Partham?
I would hope for Johnny Gargano because he's out there. I think he's definitely more comfortable coming back under Triple H regime. It would be original NXT versus more recent NXT. And it would really solidify the kind of matches that Triple H has for the future. To your point, Dwayne, I don't think it's Triple H waiting on any Forbidden Door stuff would necessarily have to do with his clout. I think he's got a lot of clout. I think he personally would want to establish himself as a creative booker for a good portion of the year, at least until WrestleMania, before he can start. He wants to start talking to other people. He does want to, but he wants to, establish himself on a main roster level.
I can agree with that. I just think he has so much credibility for what he did and what he did with NXT, and that's his baby. He created it. That if he were to call Khan tomorrow and be like, "Listen, this is what I want to do," one hand washes the other. Let's get this done.
But it's like if you have spin-offs on a show, you wait one season to establish a new spin-off before you start with the crazy crossovers and whatnot.
True.
Anyway, Ernie, what do you got?
I'll be quick. Anytime that an opportunity for me to hope that Bray Wyatt can come back, I'm going to take it. So I hope it's Bray Wyatt, even though I don't think it's going to happen. But you guys asked, who do I want it to be? I want it to be Bray Wyatt.
The reason that I think that's I'm very not confident, but they've talked so much time recently about wanting to run it back and do it the right way, like Seth talking about that in interviews and such. Go ahead, McAdoo.
I've said I want Gargano, but I just had a bad thought hit me.
Oh God.
So after Brock walked out of SmackDown, the rumored guy to face Roman was Goldberg.
Oh no!
Triple H.
Triple H bringing Goldberg in for
I'm just saying.
We might never see Goldberg again. He might be just shelved at this point. McAdoo,
we're not speaking into existence, McAdoo. God damn it!
Yeah, you're bringing in negative energies into this room, man. That's
Gilbert.
not cool.
He's trolling us.
It's gonna be Gilbert.
Gilbert. Yeah.
At this point, I'd rather have Gilbert for crying out loud.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, I have three answers: one realistic, one unrealistic, and one dream. Realistic, Bray Wyatt. I think if there was a time for him to come back, it's now. I just think that he's been away for too long. I remember a few months back when they kind of had an interaction on social media about fixing the wrongs from Hell in the Cell, and if you're going to get a great pop out of a crowd, this is the time, right? This would be it. Unrealistic, Kenny Omega. Like Kenny Omega and Seth Rollins in a ring together in their prime.
Yeah.
Tell me that would not blow the fucking roof off any arena or stadium in the country.
It would.
I still remember the first time him and Jericho went at it in New Japan, and no one's ever seen that. If you guys haven't seen that match, go watch it. It's fucking electric. And then unreal, dream match. If I can put anybody in that card in their prime, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels in his prime and Seth Rollins would be absolutely electric.
That would be. I'd see it right now. Send him out there. Fuck it.
Yeah, right.
All right, we got the biggest match of the night. Hopefully the last time we see these two together for a while. They both talked about it like it has been. It's a last man standing match. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Guys, I'm going to start with you, Partham. And the way that I kind of want us to go through this is just give me your fantasy booking of how the night ends. Who's going over in this match? Because here's the thing about this show for sure. We know that Triple H is going to have to do – he's going to put his imprint of what his creative direction is going to be going forward. And I feel like the most important part of this will be the last 30 minutes of this show at the end of this match and then whatever is following or happens during this match. Like there's going to be some tell of whatever direction is going after Brock Lesnar. But this feels like the finality of this. So just give me your fantasy booking or just what you actually think booking wise is going to happen at the end of the night tonight.
I would have them basically tear up the whole ringside area, just beating the hell out of each other. Like destroy the ring, destroy the timekeepers area, do that thing with the barricade where they go through. Of course, they're going to go through the barricade. They do it every other time. go out into the crowd, jump off a couple of things like where the electronics are, or off the stage or whatever, through tables. I just need them to beat the holy hell out of it. They barely did anything in the WrestleMania match because their movesets are very limited. So now they can just grab whatever and just knock each other over the head with them. So they got a lot to do here, and they don't have to pin one. Neither of them has to be pinned, so it's a little less. They can both look good at the end. But I think something's going to happen where at the very end, someone gets their feet down in a way where, if they're hanging on the ring apron and they're down, they can just sort of have their feet kind of hang off the side and touch the ground where they're still hanging on the ring apron. Yeah. Something to that effect, where they're standing up technically, but even though they're kind of out of it. I think Reigns is going to go over, and it's going to happen on something very big. It's going to maybe a dive or a fall or some big weapon where Reigns just enhances his Superman punch or a spear or whatever. Reigns is going to go over this match, and it's going to have to be brutal, and it's going to have to be the last one. And they finally pulled the trigger, and after like 3 tries at WrestleMania of putting Reigns over Lesnar, and now they're going to keep Reigns over Lesnar.
Yeah, Roman Reigns is going to win. Last man standing means disqualification, and Roman Reigns has like 6 friends, and Brock Lesnar has none. So I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns for this one. I don't think they're going to. I think the first shot of realistically Roman Reigns losing the title is that Clash at the Castle against McIntyre. That's my first thought. And part of the one thing I slightly disagree with is that I don't think they have a limited moveset. I think they have a limited moveset Vince McMahon allows them to do. So I think tonight, don't forget Brock Lesnar had those amazing matches with Kurt Angle back in the day. He didn't forget how to wrestle. You know what I'm saying? So I think the no pun intended, the reins might be let off of the two of them a little bit tonight. We're going to see some original stuff out of them because they can both work really good matches. They were kind of pigeonholed thanks to the guy who ran the company. And now that Triple H runs it, I think we're going to see a little more freedom that they have to actually do other things. And I think it's going to be an interesting match. I don't think it's going to be as like cookie cutter as the other ones have been.
We get some color? Some color? Triple H wants some blood in the last man standing. Triple H would do it. He'd be bleeding 5 minutes in if it was his thing.
I think some of Brock's greatest matches were against guys like Angle and Guerrero. You know what I mean? Like just guys that were great workers and have athletes. So, I mean, I'd be interested. I'm interested to see if Reigns right here.
What you got, McAdoo?
You guys already know my pick.
I don't even know why I asked you.
It's going to be Roman Reigns standing over a down Lesnar. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be a spear off the stage into like the little electric area that they usually have off to the side.
All right, so if that's your finish, what do you think about Austin Theory then? What is Austin? I'm giving people first names back in the Triple H regime. Because if something crazy like that happens, then that's when I feel like Theory comes out. And then maybe that's where you get the Usos and the Bloodline or anything else. But
the one thing that I can't figure out is a lot of people are fantasy booking, both guys are down and then he cashes in. Okay, what if one or both guys gets up? What if one guy gets up and one guy stays down? Who wins? In a triple threat scenario, last man standing, we've never seen that before, so we don't know what the rules would be.
Exactly, and that's why I feel like they would avoid. I feel like they would avoid that altogether, and it would come
during the match.
It would come after the match. But even after the match, like I don't even know. What if Brock just gets up and it's like just starts suplexing Theory because he's mad? Like even after he lost the match, I don't know. What do you think? McAdoo's got his thinking face on. I want to know if he's came up with a thing here.
You would have to expect the Usos would come out and protect, right? In this scenario.
I feel like this match is going to be a little bit of chaos, like with the Usos and Sammy getting involved in different ways. But the Usos for sure. The Usos have to be out, whether it's to protect from Theory or it's to try to help, triple powerbomb Brock Lesnar through something.
What you got, Dwayne?
I got a good theory.
No pun intended.
And I'm changing my pick again from earlier. And it all contingent on this match. I think that the Usos actually will retain earlier in the night.
Okay.
In a very in a very, dirty way, unclean way. And that's going to cause the Street Profits to come out during this match to get their revenge on the Usos when they try and interfere with this match. I think Theory cashes in tonight. I think he becomes champion. I do. I mean, you just spent from the very next night after he won that thing, talking how he's going to cash it in on this night.
They do tell you, like, if you're listening,
like,
they'll tell you, yeah.
They tell you a lot of things about when the guy's going to cash in, but then he doesn't do it.
You want to talk about 50-50 booking too? He spent the first hour on Raw just getting the shit kicked out of him by the Usos, by Roman, by Drew McIntyre, like by Bobby Lashley. Like he took his legs on Monday.
I think Vince is crazy enough to do that, but we're not under Vince anymore.
I mean, but he has it. Like, I just don't understand why you would, even under Vince, like, you can't waste that storyline. He has to have some impact on this match. He has to.
He'll have an impact, but
he'll have to have an impact.
Win the titles?
I mean,
here's the thing. We have no plan of what these titles are they always going to be? Is it going to be one belt? Is it going to be
that
separate?
Was the thing
when he cashes
with
they've
the
shown
cash in,
they've shown all the photoshops with 2 belts, but is it actually something where you win 1 belt and they've never said it.
They've never said that. Yeah, that was the theory because when it's been 2 separate champions, you have to pick one championship and another. You can't cash in on both guys and make it a triple threat match unless those 2 guys are fighting each other in the first place.
I hate 2 belts. There should just be 1 belt. I hate 2 belts so much. But I just think Theory has an impact on this match, and I personally think that in terms of the overall threat of the Usos, I think the Street Profits get involved, whether it be no DQ. I think that's cause and effect from their match earlier in the night. Kind of paving the way for at least Theory to make an appearance in the night. He'll pick his spot. Does he win? I don't know. Maybe before he can cash in, something happens. I don't know. But I think that cause and effect from the tag match earlier in the night will bring the Street Profits out for this, take out the Usos, and
that paves the way for Theory to at least attempt
to cash in. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's another theory. Like, we've always booked Brock as, when he doesn't have Paul, as the lone wolf, right? Like, he's just on his own. Always has been on his own. Could theoretically somebody be in Brock's corner at some point tonight with everything stacked against him? Could that happen?
It's possible.
Who would it be?
It is.
Yeah, who would it be?
I think it's an outsider. Some type of outsider that I don't know. I personally like
Gable Stevenson.
Right. Who has beef with the bloodline?
Seth Rollins could come
Drew
out and just want
McIntyre?
the title off of Roman. Just be like, I'm tired of seeing Drew McIntyre.
But I think Drew McIntyre doesn't care who wins. I think he just wants
Drew
to
would want to fight whoever.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't. He has no preference in who wins. I just think if somebody might have beef with the bloodline, I don't know. Maybe it's Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens isn't booked tonight.
Well, so you're getting to, I'm going to jump in. This is my prediction. I have a lot of different ways I think this could go, and I think there's one way with the guys we've talked about not being on this card that's going to shape up into some big plans here. So I do think Reigns is winning this match in what is going to be, I think, the best match they'll put on. They're going, like you said, ringside ripped up, like, pull the mats up, tables everywhere, kendo sticks, chairs, like every sledgehammers, whatever they're going to use. I think these guys are going to beat the shit out of each other. The Donnybrook last night was just a teaser of the violence we're going to see in this match tonight. I think
I never actually gave my pick.
Oh yeah, go for it.
My question to you is, what do you do with Brock if he loses this match? He just came back again.
He barely came back.
Home.
I say let him go home and think about things in a non-Vince era.
He rides into the sunset.
I can't.
I love it the way McAdoo said that, and he was kind of looking up into the corner of his room. He's just like, he rides into the sunset. Am I going to be the only guy that picks Brock here?
before it if you want.
Go for it.
I'm really the only guy that picks Brock. I'll be the lone dog there. I don't know. I just, if you plan on keeping Brock around at all, I mean, it doesn't make much sense for him to lose here. But no, I'll pick Roman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I won't ever. I don't pick against Roman Reigns anymore. I've made that mistake too many times on this show and just in my whole life. But yeah, there's a scenario where Brock wins and you just send the bloodline into a tailspin and the thing is Roman can have a storyline without the title and it'll still be the most important thing. It could be the most important thing.
Here's the thing. It's either one extreme or the other. You can't have one win the belt and one lose the belt. Like it wouldn't make much sense. You're either gonna have the complete implosion tonight by the bloodline, or business as usual, right? I don't think it's gonna be one thing or the other.
I don't know. I disagree with that because I picked the Street Profits. So I think the Usos could lose, and then you add the dissension in there. Reigns is the one I don't want to. Reigns should lose. If Reigns is gonna lose soon, it should be to Drew. And that it should be next month in the UK. Everything else, I would rather have Drew champion in the fall than see another Brock Lesnar reign. That's where I'm at.
So like that was my scenario earlier. Is that if I were to pick that the Street Profits were or the Usos were to win via some crazy scenario, in that that would bring the Street Profits out to interfere in this match.
Gotcha.
But I just see Roman. I just see Roman winning. So I mean. That theory from earlier that means nothing.
I see Roman going over, but I see a lot of chaos. The Usos, everybody involved. I think Theory does come out at some point, and that's how the Usos get rid of him. We're talking about Bray Wyatt showing up, and there's a potential that he makes his presence felt in there. Now that we've been talking about it, it feels like if you want to go a different direction with Theory completely, that's the direction you could go with. It's Bray Wyatt and just put him through the mental ringer for 4 months of everything else, and it keeps him away from the title. But I do think the biggest thing, we were talking about Seth Rollins earlier, the stare down at the end of Raw the other night makes me think that at the end of this, it's going to be Roman celebrating after everybody else is just dominated, and that he comes in with an attack. And maybe that's where Kevin Owens shows up, his boy, because we know he's not on this card at all. And they're still friends and everything else. Triple H loves him, gives them a prominent spot. Because if Rollins is really going to go after the bloodline, he's going to obviously know he needs some sort of backup in the form of somebody. So I think that's the lasting image we get. But I'm really honestly just excited about this match. Like, I really think it's going to be an awesome culmination to fucking 7 years, 8 years of them going at it with each other. And I don't think it'll be the last time ever they fight each other. But I do think this is for this spot, it's going to be really fun.
Is Kevin Owens involved at all tonight? Like,
I was gonna say, where would Kevin Owens align?
I think my dream, and I don't think it's too far off with the story that they could do this, is Rollins, Owens, and Zayn just all together as like some like super indie buddies faction. It's so easy because Owens and Rollins have been friends on TV all along.
Personalities of the faction? Are you kidding me?
It would be great. And Sammy could just do the turn tonight, where he turns on the bloodline and joins up with Rollins and Owens, and that's how you even it out.
I think if you're going to do that, I think you need to build to another pay-per-view, like with Owens and Seth, taking Sammy's side. Like, hey, these guys, they don't give a crap about you.
That's why I think Owens could come back tonight and help Rollins, and then the next couple of weeks of TV is them on SmackDown trying to convince Sammy, like, what are you doing with these guys? Like, they don't care about you. They're not your friends. We've known you forever. I agree that you couldn't do it all tonight, but you could start planting the seeds. And Owens is going to be on this show, I feel like, in some manner. Like,
yeah, I think
Triple H loves Kevin Owens of all guys too.
He'll be involved with the Seth match in some way, or maybe in a very small percentage he's involved.
Or just starts yelling at Ezekiel, like he just comes out and hijacks the show. And he's like, "Where the fuck's Elias? It's Nashville. You should be here, bro. What are you doing?"
Kevin Owens on a pre-show match against Elrod.
Yes, sign me up. That's all I want. That's my crazy booking, but I feel like it's such like a turn that you can just. It doesn't take much for them.
No, it's their effort. Right, and could you imagine the promos with those three together?
Oh, it'd be incredible. All right, so we all have Roman Reigns. I don't know what our pick percentages were because I don't think they were updated in here. So we'll get them fully updated for the next show, which would be, I guess,
Clash
I
at the
guess-
Castle?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, next show is Clash at the Castle, but that's also the same weekend as
All Out.
as All Out. So we'll have
And
a
the,
lot
and
of
the
things
next
that weekend.
NXT show, I believe.
Yes.
So we may
That's
have
a
to go
big
like 2 or
wrestling
3
weekend.
hours with this thing next time.
It's going to
Oh,
be a
Jesus
big wrestling
Christ.
weekend. But
we can just be succinct, because none of us are really good at.
Fair point.
fair point. All right, well, that'll do it for the Wrestling with Emotion show. Enjoy SummerSlam tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Watch it on Peacock. For my lovely crew here, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy SummerSlam. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. It's going to be a blast tonight. McAdoo's just flexing on everybody, so I think that's